session of the day, so you made it. Don't forget to fill out your evaluation forms. We want to always improve the sessions that we offer and the conference experiences that you have. So please do fill out the evaluation form. After the session, we have our closing time together downstairs where we have some raffle prizes and such as well. I want to introduce Gary Ebels, who is a professor here at GRCC. He teaches in the criminal justice department and teaches online, uses a lot of technology. And his session today is teaching online. How is that going for you? So I'll let you take it back.
It's a lead-in, so. Anyways, well, thanks. I put this up here first because it's one of my things that I use. I have to say that Kate emailed me and said that she was slipping out early, so I'm narking on her so you don't think that she got really pissed off by what I said. I also told her she gets the first half of the presentation, so I mean, she's got to speak. But yeah, but she says, well, I'm coming to your session and going to leave early, but I'm interested to see what you have to say. And I'm going, I didn't have the heart to tell her, going, I was planning on saying virtually nothing, okay? You know, one of the neat parts about doing a breakout session is the fact you finally get to do one that you always wanted to have, but nobody would do it, okay? And I want you to say that one of the things that I found both personally, and that is from presenting, and is the fact that if you, in fact, let me ask, how many people are faculty in here? Are faculty type? Most of you? Okay. How many faculty teach online? Okay, good. How many people are kicking tires? You know, you're just going to find out what's going on. How many administrators? Come on, let's find the administrators in here. We got a couple of them in here, so keep an eye on those people, okay? All right. But I always kind of teach from the concept of have to know, nice to know, and no need to know. And I think there's learning all the way around. And we had a conversation at our lunch. I can't remember who was all sitting there, but we were talking about the fact that even though I teach criminal justice and somebody teaches business and somebody else teaches psychology, we put even our on-ground classes on Blackboard so that they learn how to use a keyboard. We don't give them an online type of rigor to do, but you know, we're helping them out in two ways. Number one, you can't get a job at Walmart or Target, even for the holiday, unless you know how to keyboard into your application nowadays. You don't get a piece of paper anymore. I think we're doing them a favor. So online, some kind of is kind of a flexible type of thing. So, anyways, I would just throw this up here because I was thinking about it a second. For my own online learning, one of the things that I've done, and I'm getting ahead of myself a little, but you're going to get the rest of the time. I've taken some classes, and one of the classes I took was web design, and you know, one of the instructors here at GRCC, I took it in the summer. One of the things you had to do is build a digital resume, and so I've always kind of liked to figure out, you know, it's a sick person that likes HTML code, but I find it kind of fascinating. And so I took web design and HTML, but this was my digital resume I had to make for the class, and I've just kind of tweaked it over time. It doesn't look, but what's neat about it is I've snuck it up on the server. Don't tell anybody that because it's really in the relay server, which is supposed to be for something else, but Eric told me to. So Eric Cunnin told me to, okay? Got you that. Anyways, yeah, make sure you got that. I'm going to need a soundbite of that. And so I use this, but then I put it on Blackboard in staff information. And so I give them a basic resume, but it's kind of like if they want too much information, this is where they would go. And so, and I think students connect that way because that's a good. So, but just quickly, you know, first off, it's kind of like you can find me on Facebook, you can find me on Twitter, and you can see there's something unique here about Mickey Mouse. Also, you know, there are lots of links on the site to hover over them to find them. Hint, they turn red. Hint, like that, and I'll go back. And so, so I've got what I've done here at GRCC, my days as a police officer, what I've done educationally, and I love stuff, okay? And it's kind of like, wow, this is way too much information, but I live on Pickerel Lake in Newaygo. I'm a private pilot, a member of the Civil Air Patrol, huge fan of Walt Disney World, and kind of a NASCAR fan because of my son. And then I have some other stuff that I dump stuff in over time and like to do that. So again, now you have way too much information, and let's switch over to what we're really doing. Anyways, the premise of this online teaching piece right here subscribes to something that I do. And that is I use in all of my learning the case method. Do you know what the case method is? Copy and steal everything, okay? Think about it. You do it, you just don't want to admit it right now. You copy and steal everything. And that's what I do. You know, why recreate the world when you go out there? That's why you came here. You're going to steal a few things that you, learn some things that you got here. And so that's really what it comes down to. And that's why the session that I want to do here, ideally what we would have done is make a little circle or something, or go into one of those rooms that are more convenient. But I think we can still pull it off. And that is, I want more from you than you're going to get from me. And so to give you an idea, this is really kind of, oops, watch this first. See, I forgot about half this stuff. Sorry if you're a Moodle user.
It's already moving and getting smarter. It should make a classroom just the beginning. It needs to make life easier and create connections.
Tickets are now available for tonight's game.
To help us make the right decisions. It should find you anywhere, no matter what role we play. Telling us how we're performing.
We have seen a 5% increase in freshman retention on the year.
It needs to simplify the day-to-day.
Okay, the funds have been transferred.
Oh, great, thank you.
Let me bring up a slide on that right now.
It should help us work together in new ways, in the classroom or anywhere else. The education experience should build on everyone's best.
Seen that before? Oh, there was about 3,000 views. I think Blackboard put it together for their annual convention this summer, and I saw somebody tweet it, and then I stole it. Okay, got it. I got all this stuff in my favorites in YouTube and so forth. And so, but no matter what it is, I think that the other thing, we're talking about online learning, online teaching, but we're all connected. I do have to smile at that one spot where the person in the financial office transfers money to somebody else's account. All I can think of, that person is absent from my class today. Okay, they're not going to be there. They got a whole bunch of new money there. So, anyways, here's what, and I've got separate slides just to keep us on task here. But what I want to do is kind of take the life of a class and pick everyone's brain and have you share good, bad, and indifferent. And so we're just going to start out with a heading of orientation, and then once we kind of quickly go around, and I should have probably taken the amount of time we have and had a timer, because otherwise we're going to get to about here, especially for so many faculty people we got, you know. We're all passionate about what we do, but we'll try to, don't feel slighted that we cut you off, because we want to try to get through all this stuff. So kind of like, what do you do for orientation? What do you do before they arrive, whether it be online or so forth? What do you do that first week? What's your icebreakers even online? Share some stuff with us. Your organizational workflow. What I'm really curious about, what I'm struggling with is, I typically start my classes on Monday and end them at Sunday midnight. And I heard Gary Brand talk about that he locked them out at a Friday night, so that it's kind of like, what are you doing, okay? I want to know your biggest success, and I also want to know what your biggest challenge is. Maybe we can help each other, and then anything else that might be left over, questions, sharing, and finding out who the experts are too. So, fair enough? Okay, so let's take the first topic. I'm actually going to move my chair in here. And this has to do with orientation. And to keep me from dominating this, who wants to start? Tell me what you do for orientation. I wasn't going to make you do it first. Okay, start over here.
I haven't been teaching online very long. Matter of fact, this is only my third semester. And I have a scavenger hunt that takes them through all the different activities that we would do as part of the course. And so I'm still kind of learning a lot of things, but they have a discussion that they have to respond to, and they have a document that they have to open, save, type something on, and upload it. They have a video that they have to go to and find and watch. So it just walks them through all those. And I keep adding things as I get new tricks and new tools to play with. This semester I am teaching a hybrid course at another college. And because it's hybrid and I see them half of the time, I did not do this. And it was a big mistake.
Okay. So you even should use that in there. Good. And first time around, would you say who you are and where you're from?
I'm Paige Beauchesne, and I teach at Jackson Community College and Lansing Community College.
Welcome. You can pass at any time, but let's keep moving on. Would you like to share something with us?
I've never taught an online class.
There you go. Well, do you have any questions yet?
Lots.
Okay.
I'm teaching my first one, so I'm here to learn. But what I've done is introduce myself online and have a little profile of myself, and then ask them to submit something about themselves. And then I do a scavenger hunt on the syllabus. I post the
Nice.
syllabus, and then I have basically a little quiz on key points in the syllabus that they have to find.
Okay. Your name
Ron,
and where you're from, Ron?
Jackson Community College.
And we've missed you. You still get to tell us who you are.
I'm Ann Gupton from Mott Community College.
Okay. Welcome. Got something to share with us?
I am Laura Sindera from Davenport University, and I do what she does and what he does. And I also hold a optional webinar, about an hour long, introducing them to me so they can see me for those students that want to face-to-face see me. And I share my screen, take them on a tour through the course. I also, part of my orientation and every week too, create this short jing videos that walks them through where to find things as well, so they can have written documentation and videos, or they can have a live version and they ask me and then I record it
Okay.
as well.
But don't make me, if you got clarification, you stop these people and do that. So, Eric?
How many of your students typically attend your optional orientation?
Usually about a third. I think that, as I'm going on, I have these periodically, we run 7-week semester sessions, and periodically as I'm having them going on, it tends to increase more. When I look at the statistics, I'd say maybe like 3 or 4 more like watch a recorded version or a part of the recorded version, because Wimbo allows me to see statistics in it.
Do those tend to be, or have you look, better students, the not so good students, or a mix?
Usually the students that don't need the help.
Yes.
That have already watched the jing and have already know where everything is, but they're the overachievers that,
Yep.
That
anyway.
was my worry.
And another thing, and I don't know if this is part, well, maybe we're doing first week, right? After this?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. This is more or less as they arrive
The
to
very
the classroom.
first day.
Yep.
Okay, gotcha.
Eric, you want to jump in here?
Hey, Eric Cunnan, Director of Distance Learning at GRCC. Orientation is becoming more of a focus for us at the college. I think we're seeing the need for better orientation overall. We target traditional face-to-face students pretty well. We have a face-to-face orientation that they come to and everything. But I think we can do a better job of improving our online orientation. Right now it's more self-guided, self-paced, self-selected, not mandatory, and it's all pretty much online. Students do have the opportunity of coming to campus to learn about how to use Blackboard, so there's a Blackboard Basics session. It's not run by our office, it's run by the ATC, our computer lab. And then we also do encourage instructors to do their own orientation, to put it within the context of their course as well. But I think it is an area that we need to target. I know our retention and student success numbers is falling behind our face-to-face, and so it's becoming more of a, people are starting to ask the question, and I think we can do a better job.
Megan?
Megan Lillis. I'm also with Distance Learning and Instructional Technologies at GRCC, and I'm here more to learn from you than anything else.
Boy, I slipped out of that one, didn't you? Next.
Gina Kronk, Northwood University. I am an online instructor, a blended instructor, and then also an instructional designer for our adult degree program. Usually for my orientation, I like to include one of the pieces. I give them a video tour of voice, so they can get an idea on what's important and where everything's gonna be located. And then also, it's in the same file format of all the other videos that I'm gonna show them the rest of the semester, so I make sure that before the class is even started, they've got the correct software to watch all the videos that are coming up in the class.
That's a very good point right there. So you can test it out on something that doesn't count.
Exactly.
Jeff Newman, GRCC. I want to meet them, so I try very hard to get them on campus. It's hard sometimes. I get emails going as soon as I can, as soon as I get their email address. Contact me. I need to hear. Sometimes I'll get students that just say, you know, I can't get to campus, just let me get started. And I find that their retention is better when I meet them. It just seems like once they've seen me, I've seen them, and I go through the course an hour or so, and I try to get some blocks together so I can get 2 or 3 or 4, as many students at a time, scheduled. Get them to come in, we sit down in the classroom, and I go through the course.
Is your class listed as a hybrid in the?
No,
it's listed
it's
as
not a hybrid, but so technically they don't have to come to camp. And some of them just say, I just don't have time tonight. And that's fine. If you just want to get started, get started. But I want to meet you. And it seems to be better. That way when we're emailing, I know what they look like, they know me. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I really encourage you.
Do you have any fully online degree programs? Or do all your students live near your? They all live near. Okay. Because we have like people all over the world taking online classes. So that's why I'm like, I can't have my students.
The students that I teach, they're apprentices and they're working in the area.
Oh, okay, great.
Yeah, that's not an issue.
Oh, okay.
Next.
I'm Tammy Douglas. I work at Kellogg Community College, the Director of Learning Technologies. I'm one of those. I do also teach online and have to. One of the things we tried at my previous job that I worked with, we tried an online orientation that was a quiz in Blackboard, and then we locked everything in the course. So they were forced to go through the quiz, score 100% before it would unlock the content of the course. But it was kind. It was walking them through the syllabus and go read this, yes, I've read it.
Mhm.
Go, you know, so it was like that scavenger hunt, but it forced him to do everything. And then that seemed to really cut down the toxic work calls and up the success of the course.
Yeah, it's fun to start playing with that adaptive release because, you know, I have a practice test and then they can take their regular test online every single week, and the first couple of weeks they go, I can't find like a busted, you know, gotcha. Nan?
Hi, I'm Mia Schichtel from Grand Rapids Community College, and I'm a different kind of a faculty member. I'm a librarian, so I sit in classes for a day or a week or hop in and hop out. The thing that probably helps most for what I do in orientation, and you know, okay, library stuff, it's boring. It's boring in person, it's not any better online. But I do try to explain why I'm there and who I am, and actually establish the fact that I am a faculty member as well, and what my background is. Because I'm amazed each time I do that and explain, you know, college librarians have at least 1 master's, oftentimes 2, we speak another language. This is speak and read, and then, you know, explain all of that. Invariably, regardless of the class, there'll be 2 or 3 students who will follow up and ask about that as a career. So even from that standpoint, I think it's helpful. So that's what I do here at GRCC, but I also teach for the American Library Association, and you know, pretty much do the same thing as far as that goes. A lot of the things that we've been talking about.
Thank you.
LC, it's really, really hard.
I'm Lisa Glegg. I teach economics here at GRCC, and face-to-face and online. And I use a lot of these similar ideas. I do a course tour. I really like them to be able to hear my voice, and I think that's important. I think some introduction of them is important as well. So I also do the syllabus quiz. I didn't do that one semester, and it was a disaster to not have a quiz. I said, I'm just going to be nice. Read this carefully, and it caused a lot of problems. So I am going to set it up. I was talking to a meeting yesterday. I'm going to set that up as an adaptive release situation in the future, because I do think some students just don't take that seriously.
They really like to hear your voice, I think. You know, they like audio and video, especially in orientation. It connects them. Ann?
Ann Alexander, I work at GRCC as well, teaching online and face-to-face in business. I also work with professional development. A lot of the things that we've already heard I've done in terms of voice messages,
would agree with Laura that it's the people who don't really need it who show up for those. But one other thing that I do, which maybe sort of blending into the whole week, is I always have a discussion forum asking people how they're going to stay motivated for the length of the class and inviting experienced online students to share their recommendations. One of the things that I find students really don't get when they're first starting to take an online class is that it is a huge time commitment and you don't do it because you're too busy to be in school. And for them to hear it from 15 other students rather than just from me really seems to have an impact. You know, they hear, yes, you have to schedule time to spend on your online class. I thought it was going to be easy and it wasn't. And that carries more weight than just me saying that.
Thanks.
Richard Alexander, I've never seen this one before. I teach at Muskegon Community College, so I get to commute. And I'm on the psychology faculty on the distance assessment committee. And I teach applied psychology online. My other psych courses face-to-face. And I'm nice hearing these ideas. I love the adaptive release because I've been doing syllabus quiz and some other things for a while. I send out my materials at least a week, usually 2 weeks in advance, the whole package syllabus with information. You name it, including a separate orientation document. And in that orientation document, besides a summary of the courses, here are those things that I recommend you do in this order. Like 12 things, and I step them out. Read the syllabus, take the first quiz, so on. And that even though the due date of the first quiz is the middle of the first week of class, it would be nice getting it done ahead of time. So on and so on. So I'm sort of encouraging early starts. I also, at Ann's suggestion, started putting in a discussion forum about, for existing students, what do you recommend, but I think inviting other students to do that too. Because usually, I just started doing it this year, and I had maybe one or two students write, keep your time organized, and so on. But I think more would be really good. So basically, yeah, I'm enjoying hearing this stuff because I think my students get oriented reasonably well. But as we all know, and even if you try your hardest, you still get those who will keep asking you questions, or how do I submit this assignment? And by the time you go back and say, please read item 3 in the assignment procedure document that I posted in the orientation session and in 2 other sections. It gets a little tiresome. But I don't know if we'll ever be able to do something about that. But that's what I do.
Can I ask a question? How do you handle, because there's a student flux who's adding and dropping, so if you're releasing the information 2 weeks prior and then that student is no longer in your class,
right.
How do you handle that situation?
I don't care if the student who dropped has it. That doesn't mean anything. Are you thinking more about students who have added since that point? Or?
That, and also all that information is out to that student?
I don't care about that. Okay. I don't care about that. And the ones who add, I monitor my class roster starting from that point, so I know if any students have added, and then I'll send the package to those students. Yeah, but I don't care if the syllabus circulates. It's public knowledge anyways.
If I could be allowed to go out of order and just let Kate speak once before she leaves, so you're next.
Go ahead and go. I don't really have a lot more to say. I've heard a lot of
Okay.
It's all
Okay.
similar, but I would say the Gene Project is what I've used a lot, which one time my voice got different from my face lips moving, and that was really fun. But I like the idea of a webinar. I think I might try that. And having it available early, I also do that too, usually about a week early, just because then if there's any kind of glitch, I can catch it.
Thank you. Now we can go back.
Rob Bobble at Calvin College, teaching the education department, and recent project manager for the rollout of distance at Calvin. And orientation, we try to incorporate as much as possible, taking ROB, that text for Rob, and personify it to build a personality around it as much as possible. So in our face-to-face courses, we have students with accountability partners. We start with that singles, and then they move up to a larger group. So that community piece, that cohort, seems to keep folks engaged.
Excellent. Ann?
My name is Deb Lacey. I'm from St. Clair County Community College, and I as well am one of them.
Sorry.
So, all right. That's a loving term.
book. So, I don't teach online, I just get to administer the system. But we have a requirement prior to registration for an online course at our college. So we handle that, almost all of these types of things in this orientation course where students have to complete successfully before they can register for the online course. That then pulls that duty away from our faculty so that when week 1 starts, they don't have to worry about technology, the students understand how to submit an assignment, they've already had the tour of the system, they know how to post to a forum, they're familiar with the operation of the course so that they can concentrate on their psychology or their English or their accounting. No cost. So.
I like it. We make our faculty learn to teach online. We should make our students learn to learn online here.
We're actually working toward that too.
You want to speak to this? You got anything to add?
Can I
I'm sorry.
A question, sorry.
Sure.
I sort of momentarily blinked out. You said something about Rob?
The text.
Oh, the text.
Taking the text that the students see online, my name, their names, and developing a personality around it and a person.
Oh, I see what you mean. Actually, if I could share something,
Go ahead.
that reminded me of something that seems like my mind is really doing strange things, but it's not. At least not at the moment. I was actually part of a teaching resources competition last year. I actually won second place. The first place was, and this is an idea maybe for orientation, was one who actually created a Facebook account and a Facebook character, avatar. And that was the interactive part, questions of the class. And students, she thought students even seemed more comfortable asking questions of a Facebook person. This was like her, but I think it was a male avatar, and I forget the name. It wasn't Salem, but it was something. And so I'm wondering if that could even be used, as an orientation device. It's creating a Facebook page for class, but having it, start 2 weeks ahead of time or something. Just
Good idea.
If you go to the American Psychological Association Education Directorate, Psychology Teachers of Community College, you can kind of find that.
Yeah, many of us want to go and do the bells and whistles and the big stuff, but sometimes we neglect the little things that happen, and sometimes it's just drawing somebody in, they'll be successful. So, okay, how about first day? Let's go back around this way. Do you do anything special where you're at? You haven't.
Pulling my hair out because courses are up and running, but
Okay, you have something to share and that you would do? Okay.
I would say a lot of the same things because those are in first week.
Yeah, as I figured that, but in case anybody had something to add that.
Well, the syllabus quiz runs to the first week. Also, my first writing assignment is my technology assignment.
Okay.
It's worth 5 points or something, but it's mandatory. And I also say that's sort of my adaptive release, that I'm not going to accept anything else you submit until you get it in and the answers are what they need to be. That's just simple. Whose computer are you using? What browser? What antivirus program do you use? Do you know how to save things in rich text format? Blah blah blah. And that sort of, for some students, that even is a rude awakening. They'll say, what browser do you use? Microsoft Word. So that sort of gives me a read on. No, actually, they don't say Word so much, but they say Windows.
Yeah.
I get that from like 3 or 4 students a semester.
And
so that gives me a read as to who's going to maybe need a little extra attention, those who are not familiar. Also, as part of their introduction post, which I suspect a lot of us do, that's the first week discussion for them, is one of my questions is, have you taken an online course before? How was it for you? If not, how familiar are you with technology? That sort of Yeah, and that's a pattern for, even though it's all orientation stuff, they have a quiz due Wednesday, a discussion post due Wednesday, so it is less work. It's not, the course reading is the syllabus and the schedule, but it's pretty extensive, and the due dates are the same as the rest of the semester, so they're on, on pattern, then second week they start the actual psychology readings.
For me, it's somewhat self-serving because I don't want to spend 7 weeks invested into that student have them drop. I want to make sure that they're committed and this is the way.
Good. Jeff?
I spend my first week waiting for them to log in sometimes. And I've had students, third week in class, they'll call me, finally get a hold of me, never logged in, not even realize they were signed up for an online class. Their employer signed them up, didn't even know I was in it. Well, probably should have contacted me 3 weeks ago. No, that's not your fault, but bottom line is it's probably too late. I don't know what the communication is at the college, but it seemed to me students ought to be told, at the very least, to contact their instructor. Get on, to log in the Blackboard, I don't know, I don't know.
Yeah, they do all receive email. The problem is a lot of our students don't read their GRCC.
Right.
And email does tell them about all the orientation options.
I'm sure the communication's there, but I don't think it's getting to everybody on time or adequately, I don't know.
Yeah, there's that wide range. You got the students that want to get in 30 days before the class even starts.
Yeah.
And you got those students that are like, I signed up for an online class, and the first week goes by,
I'm waiting to hear from you. You didn't call me. It's like me sitting in a classroom waiting for the student to come in. You didn't come in. I was there. But yeah, the other ones you turn on the course and within minutes they're logged in.
And there are some things that we are starting to use also, but it wouldn't impact this first week. We have a system called Starfish Early Alert that sends auto emails out after 7 days. So if the student doesn't log in within 7 days, they get an email and the instructor gets a copy of it that says, hey, by the way, you haven't logged in your online class, you probably ought to do that.
The GRCC email.
Their GRCC email. So, maybe 7 days is too long.
No.
Can your students forward out their email though?
Oh yeah, but some of them don't even know that. Some don't even know they have a GRCC email account. They don't even, I didn't know I had that, so.
No one told me I had to log in. I get that call up.
These
Classes
aren't-
started Monday. Oh, well, no one called to tell me.
Because they're not, yeah.
Contrary to popular belief, we don't call all of our students and tell them to show up, so we're not gonna call all of our online
They're
students.
not
and let them
traditional
log in.
students all the time, they're not that savvy. So getting to those students, I think, is huge. I don't know what the answer is.
You're still in the back row?
I think we probably have, or exactly a lot of the same problems, but also other methods of contacting students. So we're kind of exploring different ways instead of email, which the younger generation is not really using. How can we contact them and get them engaged? So we're kind of exploring those things.
Initially, just to build up that, some type of
Is it instead of the phone call?
instead of phone call, yeah.
Eric or Mika?
Okay. I think one of the things that we need better tools for are really, it's almost a course level CRM tool. I mean, you need the ability of, because you don't want to spam the students necessarily, but yet you don't want to give them not enough information either. You need to, have some better relationship online tools for that. And there are, many channels. You can send an email through Blackboard, you can send a text to voice phone call through Blackboard, you can send a text message through Blackboard, you can post an announcement. There's a lot of ways of reaching out to students, but it's almost like, the technology hasn't gotten there yet for really doing a good job of using analytics and data and managing that electronic communication. I think we have more tools to push out, but often I don't think we know, did they get the phone call, did they not get the email? And so if you would have known that they didn't get the email, then you could, I suppose, pick up the phone or use some other tools and technology.
You assume
I think that's a big missing piece.
Megan's just chomping at the bit. I can tell. She's got something.
I was gonna mention Blackboard next, because it's a new tool, and certainly it does require that students put in their information, their cell phone number, but that allows instructors to send out course that as you always would, they can get a message. So if they haven't gotten all the way into, the course management system, at least hopefully they're being contacted the way they want. So it's a growing pain, I think, into some of those things.
More on a curriculum side of it, I guess. What I've noticed a lot, and I speak to some of my other instructors, and we're not English instructors, but what we notice a lot is there's still that struggle with some of the quality of the English that we will get in our papers and different things like that. So typically, and I did steal this from a colleague, in the first week of the class, I do a short writing assignment, 1 paragraph, 2 paragraphs, and I give some very critical and, I guess, intense feedback on that paragraph. And I can't necessarily tell you the English term of why it's wrong, but I can read it and know that something sounds wrong. So I can rewrite it and say, if you read it out loud or if you rewrote it in this format. And what I've noticed is after I set that expectation in the first week that I am going to be critical of your writing and I'm looking for a higher quality, the whole rest of the class improves until the end of the semester when they are submitting that, that major writing project or whatever it is they're doing throughout, that I've really noticed their quality has improved greatly.
I agree. I get after them in their introductions, but in the video they're supposed to watch before they do that. I tell them that, this is college, there's expectation, and by my standard, you is spelled Y-O-U, and I is capitalized, yes, and there's a capital letter at the beginning of the sentence. So, and I think once you convey that, and then you get after one student that tries to pull it off, you're done. I think you get inroads there. So, thanks.
I guess mine is somewhat similar. I try to give very detailed and fairly lengthy comments the first week to their posts, using proper grammar, obviously. And I've been pleasantly surprised this is my first time around at the quality of responses I'm getting. That there are maybe 10 to 15% that are terrible, but most of them are really well-constructed sentences, very well thought through. So just trying to set the standard early for excellent work.
Okay.
We have 7-week sessions. I'm not sure if GRCC is full semester or whatever, and I know you said 7 days. We actually have a 3-day thing where our online department sends an email out to all of our faculty that are teaching online saying today's student alert day. And if students we've found if students haven't logged in by day 3, then they're not going to be successful. We've lost them already. So we have our faculty members go in, check the performance dashboard, see the students have logged in. Even if they haven't posted anything, they may be lurking in the class. We send them a, hey, you're going to get behind if you don't get in there. And so students are like, oh, I'm sorry, I meant to do it tonight. Or you still get some, if they don't respond back, we have this system at Davenport called Student Alerts. A lot of our online students have relationships with their advisors, but not with faculty who they only get, because we have all adjuncts. So their advisor will contact them. They get a student alert in their email box saying, hey, Joe Smith hasn't shown up. And so their advisor calls them, emails them. They're like on top of it almost immediately, trying to contact them.
As Deb mentioned, Mott has the distance learning prep session, and that's helped tremendously. So we do that, but we still have faculty that will do their own individual orientation as well, and that helps with a lot of things. It helps with mechanics and stuff like that. So.
I just wanted to return to the comment from the young lady in the back. Nope, the young lady behind you about the starting off the pacing of the class. My orientation activities overlap my first unit, and I have a HQV drop day within the first 3, maybe 4 days of class, and so their scavenger hunt is due the day before that, and that may be really fast for some people, but I tell them right off the bat, and also my class doesn't open until 8 o'clock the morning the class begins. So I tell them, you got to get in there and boom, get started, and this is all set up for them. And anybody that hasn't been in there in the first couple of days, I start emailing, and I just try to make that first week. It's a lot of work, but the ones that get in there and get started with it are usually pretty successful.
Yes, how come you don't open it before?
It's not my policy.
Oh, that's a school policy.
Well, I sat next to the director at lunch at JCC, and she said, oh, yeah, we can do that. They haven't been doing that, but she said, oh, yeah, we can open it.
Yeah, they haven't been doing it. They open 8 o'clock the day that the class starts.
So hopefully that will change next semester.
That would be nice if that changes, especially for the online classes.
I agree.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
We always have the right to go in and unlock them ourselves or open them to ourselves.
So what is a typical start day, start time, and what is a typical start end day and time?
Well,
Well, if it's a weekly assignment.
Oh, they were talking about the class.
The class, right. Class
Doesn't open.
itself,
The
right.
shell doesn't
Right.
open.
Yeah, the shell itself.
8 o'clock, 8 a.m. the first day of class.
Let's save that other question for the workflow thing. And did you have any? I'm kind of like that. I kind of blend my orientation information along with the first week assignment. But in the orientation, kind of like what we were talking about, what they have to do is go and sign up and get themselves on the text message alerts and things like that. I have them do a video so we know that the plugins and everything work. We have a button that Eric's put on there that says test your browser. I don't know if you have such a feature to make them test their browser and make sure that everything's up to date. And you know, I got the latest versions because obviously that puts a lot of holes in their system and so forth and makes sure they're not using Internet Explorer 6 or something like that. And so that becomes part of it, and that solves a lot of problems, I think. And I make kind of like a finalization of the orientation due early in the week. So it's kind of like get them to log in, and so they already know they're behind if by Wednesday, even though it's a week-long class, by Wednesday they haven't completed the due thing on Wednesday. And I'll tell you what gets their attention is if you associate points with it, no matter what they are, whether they'll make any difference, when they see they didn't get any points, that's going to, you know, as soon as they see that big fat 0, that's when you're going to get the email. Please, can I make it up? Can I catch up? I promise never to do it again. Heard that one? Gotcha. Yeah. I just smile. We're back to this side. Well, maybe we should start in the back, but we'll do that again.
Organization and workflow?
Yeah, I guess if you got any tips or tricks, but my question that comes out of this is, what do you use quickly as your opening? Do you go by weeks? Do you go by modules? Do you do 3 days? I mean, what do you use as your class standard?
I'm on Moodle, and the way that our site is set up is that each week has a box or a frame or whatever you want to call it. And I work very hard to be very consistent, that my boxes from week to week look exactly the same. And I write an agenda that's a PDF file for them to open up that has a list of all the activities for that unit. Usually it has about 1.5 to 2 pages of an introduction of the chapter or the unit that is being covered, and then it has their agenda in there, the list in order that they need to accomplish the tasks. And it might be, you know, first thing is read the chapter, and then I tell them I have, you know, the optional PowerPoints, and then I have some videos, and it's all in the order that I want them to go to the materials, and then that's the same order that they see on their wall. And every week on my wall looks exactly the same.
Right.
So I don't want any confusion. I can't find. No, they're all.
Okay.
I love Moodle because of that.
Thoughts? Not really? Don't teach?
I think it needs to be organized.
Right.
The shells that I've seen, the most helpful ones, you know, I love Rob Bernard. He works at Mott. He's very linear. He's got everything organized. He's got a lot of folders. Because if I can't find it right away, I'm frustrated. Because I'm not a big techie person. So I want to be able to look at it and see it and find it and open it. And he's got things just labeled. So he's got sections like week 1, and then things are within that. So there's no question about. And he does adaptive releases, so you cannot move on from this until this is done, intentionally so that you are building blocks, you know, learning.
Ours, we have a template that every online class has to follow. We figured that, you know, want students to have to relearn where things are, so we run by week. If we're on a Monday to Sunday week, it's Monday at 12 a.m. until Sunday at 11:59. When you're asking workflow, like how I
Yeah, have you got any other tips that you'd like to share with us?
Discussion board, that's a big one. A lot of our students are always in discussion boards, the heart, what we feel is the heart of the online classroom. And I always make sure that I have a checklist, and I have 7 weeks and all the students on there, and I'm checking off. I make sure to reply to my students at least once. I'll look in Blackboard, you can see unread messages, so I'll look, or I use a discussion grader, I don't know what you call it here, but to see who I didn't reply to yet and make sure I reply to them so that they,
Everybody
see
gets
that I
something.
have an interest in them.
It's kind of like, I'm still here.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, again, I'm just learning it, using Moodle as well, and it's fairly linear. One thing I'm struggling with is whether to go for just full week assignments, which they seem to adapt to pretty well, but sometimes I have short assignments I want them to do like in 3 days, and I've had trouble getting high participation with those. Sometimes they miss that, oh, this was due on Wednesday at midnight instead of Sunday.
Well, I think it goes back to it's what you do on the first week will generate what happens the rest of the semester, I think. If you want to do 3-day assignments, you got to continue that from week 1 and keep going. Because I do that in the summer. I mean, because it's accelerated, we're 7 weeks in the summer. So it's like the equivalent of 2 weeks. And so I just do them in Monday through Wednesday. So they adapt real quick to it. So.
A couple things that I like for my class folders and my discussion board, I build them in reverse chronological order, and I do the date time restrictions so that whatever week it is, that's the very top on their list when they go to the class folder, so they're not scrolling down to find our weekly folder or to find our new discussion board. It's always listed right at the top. And then I kind of heard this, and I'm considering it. I typically do like a Monday to Sunday, 11:59 p.m. And one of my coworkers said that she switched it to, I think she said 7 a.m. Monday morning or 8 a.m. Monday morning. She said, what do I care if they're working on it at 4 in the morning? I'm not grading it until 8 o'clock or 8:30 anyways. So I'm kind of considering that, at least for the traditional students that have a tendency to do their work in the middle of the night. I could see that kind of being a benefit for them. So.
On that same line, I tried once, and I keep forgetting to do it again, but I have 11:59, but I always had these students that were doing everything at the last minute, and they're the ones that were locking themselves out of the test. And so I subtly said they had to have their test done at 5 o'clock. But they really stayed open till midnight. They all got them done at 5 o'clock, but I only had to go in like at 6 o'clock, and I knew who needed the alibi or something like that. And I could go to bed at a reasonable time, Or I didn't wake up Monday morning with a whole bunch of emails going, sorry, their daughter, one of them, the daughter started, my daughter was on my lap while I was taking my graded test. I don't think so. You got something for us, Megan? What's your?
That's a pretty common experience.
Is it? It surprised me. Eric? Do you know what most people do around here? Is it Monday to Sunday or what?
Most, I would say, the week begins on Monday. It's just consistent with, the regular school year and their week. But we are starting to take a look at what Davenport's doing, and what Laura was saying about template, maybe standardizing or maybe more specifically specifying, hey, this needs to be here, here, and here. We're starting to get some feedback from students about how that might things. Right now, there's a lot of academic freedom around that. All of our Blackboard courses have a template that is standard, but we don't specify anything, at least now, specifically for online courses.
We had a template implemented by our IS department in Blackboard, which really ticked off the faculty because they felt like they had to put things in that structure. We're migrating from Moodle, so now we can subtly do that. We have redesigned, and we're giving them recommended practices, which is a little softer way of saying, let's put things in this order. Seems to be going over a little bit loud. Better, more better, more better.
Yep. Exactly. Jeff, once they get them logged on, what do you do then?
Read. I go Sunday night to Sunday midnight, but I leave it on until like 5 o'clock in the morning. Like you said, I don't care. I'm not going to read it till the morning anyways, but they don't need to know that. And every once in a while, I get a student, they'll say, boy, thanks for leaving it on extra long for me. No, it wasn't. You're welcome.
That's why you're a hero, Jeff,
59 at night, they're logging in, and they're thinking they got lucky because it stayed on.
Just tell them it was.
I also do adaptive release. I love that. I love that. That just keeps them. But then
Yeah, it's fun to bust them that way.
They want to go in and open everything up otherwise.
Yeah.
They want to open everything up and look at it.
Mhm.
So it's just one thing at a time.
Yep.
I would just say, I didn't even know you had you were able to have a different start and end date. So that's good to know, because we're on a different part of our faculty contract, and our hours have to be Monday through Friday unless it's a certain way. So we end up working on the weekend, but not really getting paid for it. So it's kind of interesting that maybe we would be able to work with the faculty member and say, no, ours is gonna end on Friday, so.
Yeah. Yeah, there's complete control over that.
I actually have a really strong preference for ending my weeks on Friday, because I find that some of the most studious students are the ones that have full-time jobs, and they are really, they're working hard on the weekend, and they don't want to wait till the last minute. So if I'm opening up on Saturday morning, then they're getting a good head start, and they're active on the discussion boards really early in the week. Plus, that way I don't have to be answering questions on Sunday, and Friday's a good day for me to be fielding these last-minute questions and things. So I strongly prefer that. It does take a little while for some of the students to get used to it, though, because I think most of ours here tend
Right.
to end on Sunday night. So I've tried it different ways, but that one just works better.
Ann?
That makes a lot of sense too, in terms of giving yourself some time to create right away too,
Yeah.
if you want to. I'm still using Monday through Sunday, very similar week by week of what we've heard. I also use a lot of color to indicate things, so I have a bright color, typically red, in the current week folder. Everything else is black. And then within my folder, I have a bright color for the things that are going to be graded or worth points. So most often I use red. I'll change it up a little bit. Halloween week, it's going to be orange. St. Patrick's Day, it's green, so change it around a little bit. But typically, students know exactly where to look. The other thing I do is within each folder, I begin each task or each course link with a verb. So discuss, write, collaborate, take a test, so that I identify the tasks they need to do. Last thing, I've really become fond of rubrics. I like that rubrics tool that we have in the latest service pack. I've added about 6 or 8 hours of work a week onto myself right now, creating rubrics for every class, and I decided I was going to, Richard watches me too, creating these rubrics all Sunday. I'm creating rubrics. But I was originally going to do it in one online class. Now I'm doing it in 3 online classes and 2 lecture classes, creating rubrics for everything. So I'm only a little bit ahead of the students right now, but even less than halfway through the term, the students are saying, oh, I want to see the rubric for next week's work so I can make sure I'm doing the right things. And I am seeing higher quality of work. The students are really looking forward to understanding what they're supposed to do and how they're going to be graded. I don't think I've had any complaints about grades at all yet, which is really unusual by this part of the semester.
Excellent.
Yeah. By the way, Ann was doing online stuff years before I did my first one, so I highly recommend marrying.
Make sure that's in the minutes, okay?
In terms of organization, sort of getting back to that, we use Blackboard. I have a button that says weekly, I forget what I said, weekly course tasks or something like that, or weekly schedule. And it's broken down, week 1, week 2, week 3. It's a course that lends itself to that structure. And students can, in addition to the printable version that I provide, of course posted online also, they can just click week 1 and, like I say, okay, readings, quiz, link to the quiz for the week, link if there is one, link to the discussion forum for the week, link to the writing assignment for the week, with a little narrative of what the due dates are for each of those, and perhaps a brief explanation of it. In readings, there might be a little summary of what we're going to be covering that week. This week is about using reinforcement and different things. So structure-wise, there are also separate buttons for discussion forum, but students know they can just go to that weekly schedule button and go. I'm pretty much of a hard ass when it comes to due dates and due times. Mine is Monday. All my course tasks are available 9 to 11 days ahead of time for students, so they can start working on it early. I go Monday to Sunday, 11:55, by the way, harkening back to earlier versions of Blackboard. 11:55 is always my due time. It's a quiz on Wednesday, writing assignment Friday. My general week, though, I define Monday to Sunday. But if a discussion board post is done at 11:57, sorry, that's late. You really have credit for it. Students know that. They work with that and accept it.
Okay.
We do weekly. I close my courses at 5 o'clock on Friday. The students that want to work ahead have new content that they can explore that coming weekend. And for me, I get the most calls or questions just before the due date, and I want my weekend too. So Friday at 5 is when I close, but then we try to standardize on 2 deadlines. Tuesday at 5 is our secondary deadline, so we usually chunk the information. As far as workflow, we typically introduce resources, assignments, and then supplemental resources, and then we call it radar, what's on your radar.
Can I add one thing to that? Ann has been trying to talk me into having fewer due days during the week. My idea is I want to keep students involved with the course and not have everything due, say, on Friday. So my quizzes and a first discussion post are due Wednesday. If there's writing assignment, it's due Friday, and then replies in the discussion forums are Sunday. And so that's sort of, I think we can go back and forth about that. Sometimes whether that's advisable or not, I guess that's up for discussion if everybody here says, or if the majority here says don't do that, then it's not.
You married her.
My only input would be, I tend to get the student phone calls of, every week it's different, so just, I guess, the consistency, from a student's point of view, being consistent in when things are due from the start.
Okay, we got 2 minutes. I would like to combine these two. Biggest challenge, your biggest success. Pick one. You've got 4 seconds to tell us what it is. Well, I think that, and I think that we just want to hear it, because a lot of times all you got to do is have the concept going, I want to pursue that, and you, while you're winning your door prize, can talk to that person outside if you want to explore it. So.
Self-discipline. Success, if I'm self-disciplined, it's a more creative environment. If I'm not, it's rotten for me too.
Okay.
I think consistency, and you have definitely helped me with that, with becoming more hard-assed about it, because you need to apply the consequences consistently to everybody. It just makes everyone's life easier, and you're treating everybody exactly the same. There's really nothing to talk about.
Biggest challenge in general is working in an online format. Even though I've been doing it for a while, I'm very much a face-to-face person. And I think my personality comes across okay, but it's still, I don't get the same read for students that I would face-to-face. So I think maintaining that, trying to get that's my biggest challenge.
Okay. Lisa?
I think some of my biggest successes have been when I recognize that there are benefits to the online format over face-to-face, and so instead of trying to make my classroom go online and try to say, wait, there's cooler stuff I can do now, what else can I do with this? So kind of think creatively outside of this box, really, I think, changed my courses quite a bit.
Right.
I think mine has been being able to reduce my nursing students' textbook cost by $45 starting on Monday. Because we ended up licensing a book just for our collection anyway, our library collection, and it was, I was able to get a multiple user license, so they don't have to buy a $45 textbook.
Nice.
4 seconds, that's all I had.
I'll give you 5, but you used 3 of them right there.
I only have one word, cheating.
Oh, yeah.
Biggest challenge.
Yep. We've got licenses here for the more important stuff, though. That's good stuff too. It's all based upon the same platform. Okay, Eric.
I think the biggest challenges are, I think there's one that fits both these categories, and that's technology. I think we've made a lot of progress around the technology tools, but it's also a challenge because it's a challenge on how to figure out how to best to leverage them in your curriculum design and your communication strategy to students and such. So, technology.
Nice.
Going with that, I would say the student orientation, having a required one or not. I was in
I like
the first
that.
session today, and it's just, how do you make sure students who are signing up for online classes have the skills they need, but you don't put this huge hurdle out there that's going to hurt your students who do have it and are just gonna be turned off by having to like go through the hoops.
Okay.
Success I found with my videos, my demonstration videos, my tutorials that I'm doing in the online classes. The students have really responded well.
Success for me is that just the widespread participation and the quality of written work I'm getting, you know, as opposed to a face-to-face class where it's squeezing water out of a rock to get some people to participate. They all participate online, and most of it has been very good. The challenge for me is just adapting. I've been teaching for 8 years. It's my first semester online. It's a very different animal, and I feel very awkward.
Challenge work-life balance. My university requires that we are available and participating in the discussion board 5 days a week, recommending 6 to 7 times of checking in the class. So I find myself working from 4:30 in the morning till 10 o'clock at night, 7 days a week. So it's just that finding that balance, but it's good because it's flexible. I mean, it's not constant, but just finding the right balance.
And once your students know that, they're expecting an answer right away too.
They do.
Anything? Okay.
I think what I'm struggling with right now is having the class come together as a whole. It's been one of my goals for this school year, and it's a challenge for the communications department at LCC is to increase our interconnectedness and improve our group projects. And I've just been racking my brains about ways to get this to work.
Now, see how good you can be with just a few seconds, which gives me, I'll leave you with my success, and that is keeping my nose out of the discussion board. Most of the time I have an idea or I want to respond to someone, and if I hold my breath, bite my tongue, wait for 24 hours, somebody else takes care of it. They become the community. They guide each other, they criticize each other, they disagree with each other. That's what it's all about. It takes a little while, but it's kind of like, I sit back and smile reading this stuff going, I couldn't do that good, you know, so. Anyways, one last thing, I know we're over, but my mentors, the people that give me my most incentive and support and so forth are Megan and Eric, but seeing we got this captive audience, is there anything you two would like to ask the group here? I'll block the door so they can't get out. And then once they answer you, then we can let them go. I know I just popped this on you, so there's probably 1,000 things, right?
I just want to thank you for the session, and thanks for everyone for participating. I think the best ways for us to advance what we're doing and to improve student success is to talk to each other. So I really appreciate you all spending a Friday afternoon.
Beautiful West Michigan.
Participating.
Great. Thank you very much for your sharing today too. So I think it's time for punch and door prizes, right? So